Kings of Yesteryear. This combination of rare silent black and white film and color archive footage reveals the King class in astounding detail. It follows the construction process of 6013 King Henry VIII in the GWR's Swindon Works, as well as joining 6018 King Henry VI on what was expected to be the final mainline run for the class. Construction of a king in the workshops at Swindon could be said to begin with the flame cutting of the plate frames. It was essential that this be carried out with great accuracy. The wheels would be assembled with the crank axle, and parts like the smokebox plates rolled in the various shops. The frames are then delivered to the erecting shop and lowered to the assembly gang, followed by the inside cylinder casting, which fits between the frames and is carefully aligned into its location. The outside cylinders are then offered up to and bolted onto the frames, and the smokebox saddle lowered into position between the outside cylinders. The boiler is then delivered to the frames, and in a delicate operation that requires precise alignment, placed in position. The cab and rear wheel splashers are then attached to the frames. The complete assembly is then lifted onto the waiting wheel set, an extremely skilled operation, bearing in mind the weights being handled. Finally, fittings such as the chimney are attached before the engine is moved on to the traverser, which carries it out of the erecting shop adjacent to the Bristol main line. This sequence gives some idea of the quality of workmanship and finish applied to Great Western locomotives at Swindon. On the 28th of April 1963, the final King run, as everyone then thought, was hauled by 6018 King Henry VI from Birmingham's Snow Hill Station to Southall, Swindon and back via Oxford. Having departed from Snow Hill with its special train, organised by the Stevenson Locomotive Society, the train arrives before an audience of photographers and enthusiasts in Leamington Spa, where more passengers are waiting to join the fully booked train. 6018 had been officially withdrawn from traffic in December 1962 as one of the last three survivors of the class, but was reinstated to work this last train. The engine proved to be in superb condition despite its recent classification as scrap metal. 6018 had always been a star since its participation in the locomotive exchange trials of 1948, when it worked on the East Coast Main Line from King's Cross to Leeds, the only non-GWR route whose loading gauge could accommodate it. Passing Banbury, the train trod familiar ground for King-class engines via Aynhoe Junction and the new line through Bicester, where 88 miles per hour was achieved, and High Wycombe, tearing past Denham at 91 miles per hour before negotiating the Greenford Loop to Southall. Southall Shed, still a busily active steam depot, was playing host to two grimy 4700 280s and a work-worn Austerity 280, as well as other GWR types. As the passengers toured the shed, 6018's manoeuvres provided a range of photographic opportunities. Coal was pulled forward in the King's tender, and water topped up before departure for Swindon. The special then proceeded to Swindon along the GWR main line with the assistance of a Southall driver's road knowledge. At Swindon Works, steam activity was still very much in evidence, sadly including other withdrawn kings like 6011 King James I, which shared her withdrawal date with 6018, but not the latter's reprieve. After arrival with its train in Swindon Works sidings, displaying its Tyseley shed code and GWR-style painted buffer beam number, 6018 backs through the works tracks to the turntable and the running shed to be oiled, coaled and watered. 6018 was fitted with its double chimney here at Swindon Works in March 1958, having been the last King to run in its original condition. The first and most famous member of the class, 6000 King George V, is seen in 1961 alongside a Hymek diesel hydraulic Type 3 before backing into Swindon's running shed after working an enthusiast special train. There it was serviced before shunting its train into Swindon Station. 6000 displays its Baltimore and Ohio Railroad commemorative locomotive bell and attracts the attention of keen photographers. Returning to 6018, she heads back from Swindon, rounding Didcot's west curve en route to Oxford, having made a volcanic recovery to 82 miles per hour from a slack at Marston. At Leamington Spa, the King stopped to set down passengers before setting out to attack Hatton Bank in some style. Tragically, after this journey, 6018 was cut up for scrap at Swindon. Today, number 6000 survives in Swindon Steam Museum. 6024 King Edward I regularly hauls special trains on the National Railway network, and 6023 King Edward II is in the final stages of reconstruction at the Great Western Society's Didcot shed.